Keep pushing that boulder to the top of the hill. Welcome one and all to Suckville.
Extraordinary stories from ordinary humans? Yes, please. This is Live from Suckville, and I'm your host, Silva Florence, a writer, editor, and bike tour leader currently laid up in Suckville with a broken hip. What if you had just 24 hours to accept a completely new reality? I don't imagine that it would be easy. But my guest today, Michele Camorani, does make it look a bit easy in the sense that he's been through something pretty flippin' crazy, but he's managed to come out the other side as a better person. So, dear listener, if you too are going through something flipping difficult, I challenge you to follow Michele's lead, and instead of letting it turn you into a bitter person, let it turn you into a better person. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but just remember, we always have a choice. All right, hello everybody from Suckville. Today, my guest is Michele Camorani, who is from Forlì, Italy, where he is still living and has been running a screen printing shop called Serimal for over 15 years. And it's pretty cool stuff.
Thank you.
Hi, Michele.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm fine, yeah. Finally got to the end of the day, so I'm happy to talk to you and do something different than working.
I'm happy that you're here too. You are someone that I know who has made it through, let's call something like a very challenging time.
Yes, exactly. You want me to start from the beginning?
Let's start from the beginning, as they say.
It was like spring 2019, so 3 years ago. And my wife, that you know very well, kind of forced me to do some check because I've been suffering from migraines basically my whole adult life. I decided to do some exams because I'm not super young anymore.
Come on, it's not like you're 80 years old.
Well, half of it. I'm 40. I'm young, but not super young. So I did some check, and after a brain scan, they found a thing, which was an aneurysm. And back then, I didn't even know what that meant. It's basically one of the vein of your brain, which is thicker in one point, and if it breaks, it's really bad news.
Is it a blood vessel?
Yeah, it's something that it could stay there forever, or it could break the day after they find it. It's very random, and they don't know why it happens, how long it's been there. Could have been there forever or just for a few months. I don't know.
So this could have been what was causing your migraines then, maybe?
Absolutely not. That's the best part. Even
Oh
after everything, I still have my lovely migraines.
Oh,
because that
how
thing is,
lovely.
doesn't cause you pain or anything until it breaks. When it breaks, there's a high percentage of like death and a super high percentage of losing part of your mobility. No, that's not a word.
Your mobility, your ability to move your body.
And so basically right after this exam, they wanted to talk to me and say, here, the thing is in a very critical condition, is not super big, but it's kind of weird, and we need to operate you as soon as possible. So basically, in one day, I went from living my normal life to don't get too tired, don't do the stair running, don't ride your bike, don't take a plane, don't go to the mountains. I couldn't do anything. Not anything. I couldn't do many things for a month, and then I went to the hospital and got surgery.
And what were you feeling like when you found out in that moment that your life had changed so completely in such a short time?
I never felt anything even comparable because, like, I've never been to the hospital for anything. I broke one finger, and that's it. That's my experience at the hospital. And then I went to, you gotta have brain surgery, and it could be very dangerous. And I had to sign a paper where it says there's this percentage of death after the surgery. It almost didn't make any sense. I didn't want to believe it even when that was happening. I remember that so many nights, like I woke up, you know, when you are having a nightmare and you wake up and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, and then you realize like, oh, it's a nightmare.
Like that happened to me, but I woke up and I was like, oh, this is my life. This
Oh
is
my
not
God.
like, so I
Can't
was
imagine.
super scared, extremely depressed. My migraines went, I mean, from like getting one every 2 weeks, I almost had it every day because of stress. I was completely broken. Also because, you know, we both ride bikes and we talk about it all the time.
Yep. We're bike obsessed humans.
Yes. The day before going to talk to the doctor, I just did like a super long bike ride, like a 160-kilometer bike ride, and I was super happy because it was May. So I was doing plans for the summer, and
That's like the worst moment for something like this to happen.
yeah, and also the thing was like, when I'm gonna be able to do it again? Am I gonna be able to do it again? That was the thing that made me feel very, very depressed.
I understand that.
I remember that the doctor said, "No, you can still go on some bike ride." And I, of course, I needed numbers, like how many kilometers can I ride? And he was like, I don't know, like 5, 10. And the day before, I just did 160. So I was like, okay, you're telling me that I cannot ride my bike, basically.
You're telling me to pretend I'm like an old man with groceries and an umbrella,
Yeah,
basically.
you can go to the church.
You could go to church and back, sir.
Yeah, it's fine.
Amen.
Because basically, they did not impose the surgery. I had to decide if to do it or not do it. I mean, I didn't feel I had an option, like, or living a life where I know that I have this thing, and one day or another, I could just, you know, just like that, stop living and or take like I mean, it was a minor risk than waiting for this thing to happen. And so, yeah, I took the risk, and it didn't go exactly how it was supposed to.
Yeah, exactly. What happened then?
Yeah, it happened that the surgery went well, but 5 days after, so basically the first time that I was leaving my bed, it was like try to walk and go to the bathroom. As soon as I got to the bathroom, and sorry the detail, and they took the catheter out of me, I passed out. And when I woke up,
Oh, man.
I could not move the right side of my body, and I basically could not speak. They were asking me question, and I knew what the answer was. I just didn't know how to get the words out of my mouth.
That must have been terrifying.
Yeah, I still cannot describe it. Like, it's so weird. And my wife was with me the whole time, and to see her eyes like looking at me like that, I was very like worrying because I was not 100%. I mean, I
Yeah.
couldn't talk, but I was not like perfectly understanding everything, but most of it.
Because you were a bit in shock.
No, because I was so confused. Like they were asking me how old I was, and I remember that the answer that I had was not correct. It was very close, but it was not correct.
You're like, the doctor told me all I can do is ride to church, so I'm definitely like 96.
Yeah. I thought I was a little younger. I was 37 back then, and my answer in my head was like 35.
Well, I do that on like a normal day. I'm like, what am I going to be 38 or 39 this year? So
So keep saying that for the next 2 or 3 years.
exactly. And so what had actually happened though? Did you have like a stroke?
Yeah, and they took me back to the surgery. I was not super excited about it, but I remember that I had this specific thought that basically changed my life. That moment, the thought that I had changed my life, which was, okay, I'm going through surgery again. I cannot move the right side of my body and I cannot speak really well, but I'm still alive. And this is good news.
Wow.
I was just like holding on to that. I was not desperate. I was happy to be alive. I was happy because I remember the moment that I passed, and then the fact that I woke up from that and I could understand most of it and move my left hand was good news, which is
Wow.
insane. But in that moment, I was so happy to be alive that I was like, okay, because they were talking, the doctors, they were preparing things, and I had all the time to think about what was going on. And I was like, okay, you're still here, and that's good news.
That's amazing.
So many times you would have said, oh, if I get to lose part of my body, I don't even want to live. No, at that moment made me understand that no matter what, I still want to be alive, basically.
We all want you alive too, Michele.
Yeah.
So is that kind of like a turning point for you?
That one was really made me understand how much I like to live, basically, and what really matter.
Yeah.
I mean, I had all the time to think about what matters in life because I got to spend like a whole month at the hospital. Because basically, what caused the stroke was the fact that the little tube that they put inside my brain bent. It was not supposed to do that, but it did because my brain realized that there was something that was not supposed to be there. So it stopped pumping blood through it. And so that this opened another like a crazy chapter, which is my brain created some new veins to. I mean, I'm not obviously not a doctor, so I don't know.
Don't worry.
But basically, it created new veins in other part of my brain for the blood to flow through, and that gave me a solid 3 weeks of the worst migraine of my life. And they didn't know what to do because this was not supposed to happen. That it never happened before.
Yeah, I remember this. I remember all of us just being like, what?
I just had to stay there with the thing in my vein for the pain and wait for my body to heal. And they were just keeping an eye on me for weeks. They sent me home like a few days, no, like a week after the stroke because everything seemed fine. And then it's when the super heavy migraines happened. And so I had to go back because I didn't know what was going on. And they didn't know what was going on, but at least I was already at the hospital in case something bad happened again. So
Yeah. And how are you feeling about things at that point?
I was so afraid of, not that I was dying there, but that my life would not have been like way longer because they didn't know what was happening. And so I was like, okay, maybe I'm gonna have other strokes. And the first one didn't cause any damage, but
So you were able, after the second surgery, you were able to talk and move and all of that normally again?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay.
Like it happened in the morning, and in the afternoon, I was very sad, but I was fine.
Okay. But you were alive and you could talk and move. So,
Yeah, that's it. Now the weird part is that right when it happened that I was half paralyzed, I was happy to be alive, and then when everything was fine, and they told me that I I was 100% myself, I started to be very, very sad, very depressed. Like, why is this happening?
I mean, I think that's like something a lot of people ask themselves when really intense stuff starts going down. They're like, why is this happening?
Yeah,
Do you have an answer for that question yet?
yeah. It just,
Yeah.
I realized that we are not much in control. So
It's
shit
true.
happens, basically. That's,
You spent like a seriously long time in Suckville.
yeah.
Yeah.
A long time in Sackville that was not over when they sent me home because I couldn't do most things. I was happy to be home, happy with my wife and my cats and my family, but I couldn't. I watched a lot of TV for a long time, and sometimes I would go downstairs, touch my bike, look at it,
Make sure it still exists.
yeah, and I was missing it a lot, and
It's a
I
feeling
couldn't
I
wait.
understand. Not quite like you, but I get it.
No, but I mean, you are in the same situation where you cannot ride, and which is your favorite thing to do, right? So,
Pretty much, yeah. But now I like podcasting.
yeah. See, while I could not ride my bike, but I was a little stronger, I started walking, and I walked everywhere. I could not drive, so I could not ride my bike. So everywhere I needed to go, I just walked there.
Was that something that you did before?
No,
Were you a walker?
I hate running and walking. I only ride bikes.
I always say that the only time that I run is if there's a bear chasing me.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do like to walk.
Like a real cyclist run if someone is after
Yeah,
them, and swim if it's about to drown.
exactly. So, how long was this period of time where, from when they first told you that you had to get the first surgery until you were kind of more back to normal?
1 year. Yeah, 1 year of. I mean, 1 month of waiting, a few months of total Sackville, like being the mayor of Sackville.
Yeah, you were the mayor of Suckville. Maybe we should make you an honorary mayor of Suckville.
I mean, I remember that I started feeling a little better in March 2020. That actually helped because there was nothing to do, so I was forced to chill because even when I was at the hospital in that condition, I was answering emails.
Oh my God. At least it gave you something to do,
Yeah,
I guess.
definitely. But then at that point, there were no emails, nothing to do, so I was just resting. And in May 2020, yeah, I I started doing little rides,
After the lockdown.
and then every 3 months I had to go and have some checks at the hospital, and things were getting better and better and better. So basically, in December of the same year, 2020, so like a year and 3 4 months after the bad news, so more than a year, they told me you can ride your bike. And so that's how 2021 was the year where I rode my bike the most of my entire life.
Yeah, you turned into like a total maniac.
Yes, yeah. I had to make up for half of 2019 and the whole 2020.
Yeah. What's the craziest ride that you did?
The craziest,
Or the longest?
I mean, the longest, it's 230.
In one day.
Yeah, in one day.
Kilometers.
Yeah.
Which is still a lot. Like a lot.
Yeah. Last Saturday, I did like another 200 kilometers.
And 200 kilometers is like 120 miles.
Yes.
So do you think you would have ridden those amounts before this
I was
crazy
planning
experience?
to, but I never did. And after that, I did. And I'm planning to do it a lot. But this year, I'm doing some trail, some like...
Mountain biking?
no, like it's called, like, for example, like a Veneto Gravel, which is like an unsupported bike ride. It's like 400 kilometers, and you do it in the time that you want.
We're going to have to organize something when I can get myself back on a bike.
Yeah.
Because unsupported bike touring, which for anyone listening out there means that you don't have the support of like a van or a car carrying your stuff. You carry your stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you have done it quite a lot.
A couple times.
Yeah, but for a long period, if I remember it right.
Yep. Long bike tours are pretty amazing. So this is one way that this experience changed you, is it's been definitely pushing you out on your bike. Would you say that it changed you in any other big ways?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but like you really understand what's important. Like sometimes it still happens, like to be stressed for work, because I am a screen printer. I love my job. My job is going exactly the way I planned when I was in my early 20s.
It's impressive, Michele.
Thank you.
We will definitely be putting the links in the bio too, so that people can go look at your cool
Thank you.
stuff. Yes.
But at the same time, I realize that what I do does not matter in the bigger picture. It's like I print stuff. I print t-shirts. If I stop doing this tomorrow, the world will not be a different place.
But there will be so many people without cool handmade t-shirts and totes.
Yeah, they can find someone else, no problem. So I'm aware of that, and my job, I love it, but it also stressed me a lot sometimes. So I learned sometimes to stop and realizing, what am I stressing about? And that calms me down a lot, because I just remember what I went through, and I just think about how important is what I'm doing. I give another meaning to the word priority.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And when you are super fine again, you kind of forget that, and that's what I don't want to do it. I'm stressing again, so sometimes I take time to think about what I went through and what's important.
Yeah, because you told me in the questions beforehand that this has become pretty much a part of your daily life, this experience.
Yeah, there are so many things that I wouldn't say triggers me, but like make me think about it.
Like what?
It could be anything. Like seriously, it could be like to see like an old guy on a wheelchair, or like walking in front of a pharmacy. There are so many things that make me think about what I went through, but it doesn't bother me anymore. It used to make me like instantly sad, and now I can deal with it better. Like I don't get sad anymore. Like a year ago, I will have like teary eyes just talking about it.
What do you think has changed in you, like, since that point that you're able to talk about it?
I think time, to give it some time, is always like important, and therapy also.
That's great. No,
That
that's
helps.
great. I think therapy is super helpful. I've done it too.
Yeah, I went to therapy until like last December, because I had another check. It was a big one, because I didn't do it for 1 year, so I was super afraid they could find something new. And the last check, it was super fine. They don't want to see me for 2 years now, which is great.
That's awesome.
And like it was
Good.
great to go back to the hospital and not knowing everybody. and like not having everybody call you by name. That's great.
And has this crazy experience this year and several months changed anything about you personally, your character?
Yeah. I'm way more empathetic. Definitely. If I know of like a friend or somebody that's going through like something serious, I am pretty much like on the first line, because I appreciated so much how some of my friends were with me when I was sick. It was like so important that I want to be that guy now.
So you weren't like that before
No,
this
I don't think
experience
so.
so
No,
much?
because you go on with your life and you kind of forget about it. But now I don't.
I think empathy is one of the best things that we can have and develop as human beings.
Absolutely.
Because it's so hard to know. Like you walk past somebody on the street, maybe you say hi and they don't, and you're like, what a dick. But maybe they're going through something really difficult, you know? Okay, so now I think maybe we've arrived at my favorite question of the day, which is of absurd moments, because
Yes.
Michele shared something really funny with me.
Like I have a story.
Exactly, like
Yeah.
not for ears that are like 11 years and younger.
Yeah, no, the word needs to know.
Yeah, the world needs to know. So basically, we started talking about like absurd moments that happen when you find yourself in these situations. I think maybe I gave you the example that the first day when I went up to my special man friend's apartment, I couldn't use my crutches yet. And so I butt scooted up 3 flights of stairs. Like I remember the neighbor kind of like opening the door and looking down at me on the stairs as I'm like butt scooting with my jacket on, like with my crutches in my hand, and then just like
I
closing the door.
wish somebody will put this this scene in a movie. So I had a moment like that. So basically, I went to the bathroom.
It's when it starts out like that, we know it's going to be good.
Yes, and my wife was with me because it was after my stroke, but yeah, before I came back for the second time. And at the point, I was still never allowed to be alone.
In case something happened, right?
Yeah. So she helped me go to the bathroom. I was sitting on the toilet to pee because on our wedding vow we are not allowed to poop in front of each other forever and ever.
Really?
Yeah.
You mean like you have to? Yeah, the door has to be closed.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah.
isn't that like? I don't really know a lot of couples that poop in front of each other.
You
Is
don't?
that a thing? Is that a thing?
I know people that do it, and I don't even want to think about it. There are some moments where you just need to be alone.
Agreed.
So I was sitting on the toilet to pee, like a man. and,
Learning so much about you, Michele.
and so there was a sound that you will not associate with pee. Basically, Jessica looked at me and goes like, "Oh, I thought we had a rule about that." And then she also read like panic in my eyes because that sound was coming out of my penis. So that was like a penis fart. And I was panicking because it was a very weird sensation. And then I look at her and I told, I'm farting from my penis.
What did she
And
do?
at that point, we just start laughing like, like what is this? The explanation is because until a few days ago, I had the catheter in, and so it can create that.
They should tell you that though.
No, the most important thing about this story is that then I go back in bed, I call somebody, and I explain what's happening to me. Trying to using medical terms. It was a young guy, and he never heard of it. It's like, dude, I'm not making this up.
Oh my God.
And he was all weirded out. I was super weirded out. But no one came and tell me, Yeah, don't worry. Just a few days after, I was asking everybody.
Oh God. Some guy at the counter in the bar.
Yeah. And so finally, somebody told me, yeah, it's a thing. Don't worry.
It's
Oh,
incredible.
thank you.
Well, hopefully somebody out there will hear this who has had a weird penis fart experience,
Yeah.
and they'll feel calmed.
Yeah. Guys, don't worry. Dick farts are real.
Oh man, you never know sometimes what life's gonna hand you, I guess.
This should end like this. There's
Where do we even go from
I
here?
can talk about after. We cannot go back to the meaning of life after this.
I'm gonna try to put on my serious face now and say, if you could give any advice to perhaps anybody else that's going through, an experience with an aneurysm, but not only, is there any advice that you might give this person?
First of all, allow yourself to feel miserable. Feel what you feel and express in the way you have to, because whatever you push back, it will come back to you. And have a lot of patience, because things don't go the way you plan them, and they might not go even the way the doctors plan them. The most silly and most true one is just take it easy. Allow yourself to feel exhausted and take a nap, and be sad, but don't let that sadness define you for forever.
I think that's some excellent advice, sir. Is there anything else that you can think of that you would like to share about this experience?
Well, I feel like I have shared enough.
I think you've done some very deep level sharing. So I thank you for your honesty and your willingness to come on here and talk about something like this with everyone.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
Thank you, Michele. If you or someone you know would like to be interviewed on Live from Suckville, please do send me your stories at livefromsuckville@gmail.com. Live from Suckville can also be found on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Special thanks to Chris Kirby for the awesome theme music. This episode was recorded in my kitchen and produced by yours truly. Until next time.